We
The
are live.
chair, thank you. The chair notes the time is 6:06 p.m. and I call this meeting of the Amherst Zoning Board of Appeals to order. It is Thursday, February 26, 2026. We will begin with a roll call of the ZBA members. Mr. Offeld,
Here.
Mr. White,
Here.
Mr. Meadows,
Here.
Ms. Greenbaum.
Here.
The chair notes a quorum is present. A quorum of 3 is permitted to take testimony. Also present tonight is Ms. Jacinta Williams, a planner with the town of Amherst. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, extended through June 30th of 2027, the ability of public bodies to meet in a fully remote or hybrid manner, this meeting will be conducted via remote means. Members of the public who wishes to access the meeting may do so via Zoom or telephone. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time. The Zoning Board of Appeals is a quasi-judicial body that operates under the authority of Chapter 40A of the General Laws of the Commonwealth for the purpose of promoting the health, safety, convenience, and general welfare of the inhabitants of the town of Amherst. One of the most important elements of the Amherst zoning bylaw is Section 10.38. Specific findings from this section must be made for all of our decisions. Statutorily, for a special permit, the board has 90 days from the close of the hearing for a final decision. No decision is final until the written decision is signed by the sitting board members and filed in the town clerk's office. Once the decision is filed with the town clerk, there is a 20-day appeal period for an aggrieved party to contest the decision with a relevant judicial body in the Superior Court. After the appeal period, the permit must be recorded at the Register of Deeds to take effect. Tonight's agenda, we will have review and approval of the minutes from our last meeting, February 12th. There are no public meetings. There are 2 public hearings before us tonight. ZBA FY 2026-09, 74 North Whitney Street, request a special permit under sections 10.33, modification, amendment, or renewal to extinguish the existing special permit ZBA FY 1997-2022 for the first floor supplemental unit. The applicant would like to return the property to the original single-family use designation. Said property is located on map parcel 14B/93 RG General Residence Zoning Districts. Then we have ZBA FY 2026-10, 169 Meadow Street, request a special permit for change of use under section 3.391, contractor's yard, and 8.5, modifications and waivers. Modification requests pertain to the proposed sign located within the 20-foot setback. Said property is located on map parcel 4B-C, C-1 commercial industrial zoning districts. We'll have a general discussion, any general public comment, and any business not anticipated within 48 hours. We will start with review of the minutes from February 12th. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes, and are there any amendments, or can we vote to accept the minutes as is? I see no hands in the affirmative or the negative. To that extent, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes for February 12, 2026. Is there
So
such a
moved.
motion?
So moved.
It has been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and second. The vote occurs on the motion. Ms. Greenbaum,
Aye.
Mr. White,
Aye.
Mr. Offeld,
Aye.
and Mr. Meadows. I see it aye. The chair votes aye. The minutes for February 12th, 2026 have been adopted. Thank you. We will now move to ZBA FY 2026-09 and going by, which is 74 North Witness Street. I am going to go by the project application. The nature of the request is a special permit to extinguish a special permit. The applicant would like to return the primary use of the property back to a single-family dwelling use. The submissions dated January 16th, 2026. We have the ZBA narrative of 74 North Witness Street dated 1/16/2026. We have the application of the same date, 1/16/2026. And of course, we have the complete application packet dated January 8th of 2026. By way of background, the Zoning Board of Appeals previously granted a special permit in 1996 to Paul Fireman and Gail Giroux to convert a single-family home to include a one-bedroom apartment. There are no modifications and or waivers being requested. There was a site visit on Tuesday. Mr. Meadows, Mr. Offeld, myself were present. We had the opportunity to walk through the property, see what's being asked, and quite frankly, the request, it's primarily focused on us withdrawing a special permit, not necessarily granting anything that's been specially done to the property outside of standard building code and requirements. And I'll have Mr. Meadows and Mr. Offeld chime in case I missed anything. Mr. Meadows, you're on mute.
Format of the request was basically to go along with the new state requirements. So I'm a little bit of a loss if that's the new state law. It's basically a given.
Mr. Offeld, did you say something?
I'm just going to say that we observed that the upper part of the house, the top floor, which has 4 bedrooms, was finished off, and the bottom floor was still in a state of disrepair, which is how the owners bought the property, as I understand it.
That is correct. So thank you both. Ms. Williams, who is representing 74 North Witness Street? Can you promote them, please?
Sure. Mr. Dina Raganthan should be joining us shortly.
And while we wait, are there any disclosures by any member of the panel? I see no hand in the affirmative.
This is Dinakaran Raghunathan, Mr. Chair.
Dina, if you can just, I know you just introduce yourself, but for the record, can you just state your name and address, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the board. My first name is Dinakaran and the last name is Ranganathan. And this is for 74 North Whitney Street in Amherst. I currently reside in 6 Cotillion Lane, Nashua, New Hampshire.
And Dina, can you just elaborate for us what is it that you're asking of the ZBA?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Thank you for taking the time to visit our house on Tuesday. I think you summarized my request pretty accurately. We bought the property at 74 North Whitney Street in October of 2025. It has contained a lawfully created supplemental unit since 96, as you mentioned, and it was under a special permit that was issued to the previous owners. The purpose of my request today is to simply extinguish that historic special permit and allow this property to be governed under the current Massachusetts State's Protected ADU framework, consistent with some of the recent amendments. And I want to clarify, in addition to what you stated, Mr. Chair, that we have not proposed any expansion of the building's footprint, neither are we adding any external structures. So as such, the physical structure and the layout remains largely unchanged. And I do not believe there are any impacts to the neighborhood either. As Mr. Offeld pointed out, we are in the process of rehabilitating a hitherto neglected property. And we just brought the second floor of the unit up to safety standards. We believe we have reduced the risk and we brought everything to code compliance for that floor. We are yet to begin work on the first floor. So when the board visited our property, the state that the property was in, especially the first floor, was how we found the whole property when we bought in October. So since we've been working on building permits and renovating, but for the first floor, we have not touched that floor just yet, except for changing some of the windows to egress windows. And my request today is to simply extinguish that special permit and return it to a single family home, following which it will be governed by the protected ADU laws of the state. I'm hoping that the board considers this request in favor. So I'm happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
Thank you, Dina. Are there any questions for the applicants from any members of the board? Ms. Greenbaum?
Yes, sir. I would like to ask one question. When was the last time that unit was used as a rental apartment?
I have no idea, madam. I don't have that information.
Has it been within the last 2 years?
I have no idea, madam. I do not have that information.
The reason that I'm asking is that we may not have to vote on this because that use may have sunsetted, not having been used in the last 2 years. And I'm just bringing that up because it has struck me wondering why you want to do this if it hasn't been a one-bedroom apartment for a long time, which is what I was implying for or inferring from the information we were given.
Yeah, the only information that I knew of, madam, was, so we brought this property from a bank, right? So it was owned by US Bank Trust after it was foreclosed. And for the last almost 9 years, as far as I understand, there's been nobody living in this property. So I don't have any additional information. I did try contacting US Bank to get some information about the property, but they simply answered me that they're under no obligation to provide any additional information. So that was the end of my conversation with the bank.
Thank you.
So Hilda, are you suggesting that if it hasn't been occupied for the last 9 years, then?
I'm of the understanding, at least all of the years that I've been involved in this board, that if a permit isn't used within 2 years or, well, I know not used within 2 years of when it's approved, that it's dead and you have to come back again. And I also understood that if a unit or use was not used for 2 years, that it automatically sunsetted. That's been my assumption from everything I've heard over 50 years. So that's why I'm asking. I couldn't quite figure out why he was coming, given that's the usual practice that I've always heard. Unless there's something the something in the conditions is for the other thing, but not for this one. But I was curious, and I also was going to ask him about the square footage because both of those floors are more than 900 square feet. And so it might be useful to have kept. This is part of the discussion rather than the question, but I'm just bringing it up at the wrong time.
Not the wrong time. But before we give Dina a chance to respond, I think Ms. Williams have a comment. Maybe you can answer some of your questions. So Ms. Williams?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Ms. Greenbaum, I asked the building commissioner and, my supervisors the same question as well. I did work pretty diligently to try to, make this as seamless for the applicant as possible, raising the same concerns that if this hasn't been occupied for X amount of years and, the use hasn't been, active, why would we ask the applicant to proceed with this process? I was essentially, in short, told we needed to have him go through this process. So
Okay.
You're not wrong in your thinking. However, myself, and then as I instructed the applicant, we were told we needed to prove somehow that the use was inactive. we did the best that we could. Mr. Ranganathan did the best that he could as well to provide the building commissioner with the evidence that he was able to gather, but the building commissioner still decided that that was not enough, and he asked the applicant to go through this process. So that is, whether fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not going to comment on that. That is why we're here tonight.
Thank you for the explanation.
You're
I
welcome.
finally know. I finally get it.
So, Mr. Ranganathan, I'm not sure if you need to respond to Ms. Greenbaum. I believe her question was answered by Ms. Williams.
Yeah, I think Ms. Williams covered it pretty accurately, and honestly, it's been a lot of like digging that honestly Ms. Williams has done about this particular issue, and we have gone back and forth, as she said, several times. And out of an abundance of caution, we just came to the board, is how I kind of like see it. So if there are no further follow-up questions for the first part, I can, if you're okay, answer the second part of Ms. Greenbaum's question.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Ms. Greenbaum, this property currently in the second floor, the way the ADU, I'm assuming this question is in connection with like whether the ADU, whether the property will meet like the protected ADU's size restrictions. So we measured the primary dwelling unit, which is the second floor, and the common areas, and that came to roughly over 1,900 square foot. That includes like nearly 1,400 square foot for the second floor, and then adding to that like common areas, which includes common stairs, the garage space, electrical room, furnace room, laundry, etc. So that came to about 1,900 square foot. And I've included that in the supplemental information that I submitted along with my application, the breakdown for that 1,900 plus square foot. And then like for the first floor ADU now, the total area as it exists at this time, which is basically a one bedroom supplemental unit, is roughly 496 square foot, 495.5 to be accurate. So that is substantially lower than the 50% limit. And it is also lower than the 900 square foot that the protected ADU allows us to have. So let me know if you need any additional information, Ms. Greenbaum.
Thank you for explaining that to me, because I sort of was thinking that either the first floor or the one of them was going to be the ADU, and I was thinking it was going to be as it's reported on the assessor's card. So I'm glad you clarified that.
Are there any other questions from any of the members of the panel? I do not see any hands or any verbal responses. So at this time, I will take comments from the public. Please remember that there is a maximum speaking time of 3 minutes per person. If there is anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this application, please raise your hand. We'll be afforded the opportunity to speak. Ms. Williams, do we see anyone?
We do not have any members of the public wishing to comment.
Okay, with no members of the public wish to comment, and unless there are any further questions or comments from the applicant, I would entertain a motion to move to the public meeting while keeping the public hearing open so that we can discuss findings and conditions where applicable, as well as having discussions on the disposition of the board towards this application. So before we move to a public meeting, Mr. Ranganathan, do you have any other comments or questions for the board?
No, Mr. Chair, that's it at this point.
Thank you. Okay, I will now entertain a motion to keep the public, to move to a public meeting while keeping the public hearing open. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
It has been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been moved and second. Is there any discussion? Seeing that there is no discussion, the vote occurs on the motion to move into a public meeting while keeping the public hearing open. Mr. Offeld. Mr. White.
Aye.
Mr. Meadows.
Aye.
Ms. Greenbaum.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. The vote is 5-0. We will now move into the public meeting while keeping the public hearing open. So I can start. This is a very unusual one. As I think we all appreciate, we're not even asking to issue a special permit. We're asking to eliminate a special permit. So I am not even sure. I don't see how we can issue conditions on something that doesn't exist. Yeah. um, so I don't know if how the board as a whole feels about this. Given that this is one of first impression, do we need to, what is it that we need to consider? If anyone has any thoughts on that, because again, we're not granting a special permit, we're essentially canceling a special permit. My first thought was that if this is something that may come back before us, we may want to have council weigh in with some guidance, just so we have something that's uniformed, as opposed to saying something here tonight and then somebody else comes before us and we piecemeal it. That is my thought, just because, again, our history has been we grant a special permit, not extinguish a special permit. So Ms. Greenbaum has most experience here, and her hand is raised, so I will
I
call upon her.
think that for the sake of the neighbors who have looked at this worse than an eyesore for so many years, I think we need to do everything we can do to push the renovation of the house forward so the man can get the work done and have it ready for rent June when most of the tenants turn over in this town. And if the building inspector, who is also in charge of the zoning amendment and the enforcement of it, says that this is a requirement for him in order for the project to go forward, I don't think we have a choice but to go along with what the building inspector is asking us to do. That's everything that I am understanding from what the appellant has just said. That we have to approve this if he's going to be able to go forward and get his work done in time for the rental season, and people are looking for places to live now, and he's probably gonna have to rent it now as the tenants are looking before the work is done, and that has happened many times before. But I think we need to help him go forward, because don't forget there's a waiting period. Well, I don't know whether there's a waiting period on this for so many days before the
So, Ms.
whatever.
Greenbaum, as a matter of
Days
clarity,
what?
as a matter of clarity, I do not believe work has been delayed by the special permit, because when we went there, work was being done. So they are actively working on the property with construction.
But he can't. I understood he can't get a building permit without that, or he can't make the second unit to satisfy the requirements of the building inspector unless we vote yes.
There is already 2 units there.
That's what I understood from everything I have heard. Now, if you understand something different, tell me what it is.
So there are already 2 units in existence at the property. There's already an ADU unit there. There is the second floor, which is the full unit. Then there's the first floor, which is the ADU unit. And the second floor, which is the primary unit, has already been renovated. I imagine that the applicant has gone through the town building permits, and that unit was renovated and is completed. Work is being done on the ADU unit. So,
But not legally, according to what I'm understanding, the building commissioner just ruled that we need to approve what the building commissioner is saying, because he's the one that holds the rights to do whatever he does with his property at this point. At this point, any unit that's in there has sunsetted because well, except for what's allowed by right, which is the single family home. The apartment there is not a legal apartment at this point. And I think we have to go along with what the building commissioner is recommending. Otherwise, the man wouldn't be spending all his money to be here.
Mr. Offeld?
Noting in the bylaws, in Article 10.33 zoning bylaw, that we are allowed as a special permit granting authority to modify special permits. And if a modification includes elimination of the special permit, that seems logical to me, that I think we do have the authority to do this.
So I wouldn't argue with that. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, because if we vote for what's being asked, we're essentially saying the special permit that you had is gone and we cannot issue any conditions.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
And the building commissioner is the one who is also the zoning enforcement officer, and so he must know what he's doing. Have a reason for what he's doing, and
Okay. So to that end, Ms. Meadows, do you have any comments, Mr. White? I see no no affirmative. Mr. Reinhathen, I see your hand, but this is the public meeting. This is not where you get the opportunity to weigh in. This is where the board gets to weigh in. So with the board's permission, we do have a light agenda. If the board is comfortable, we can have Mr. Reinhathen say what he has to say. But I don't necessarily think that it's going to change much. But Mr. Reinhathen, I see affirmative responses, so I can give you 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. Yes, we have finished the renovation for the second floor, but for the first floor, we have not touched anything, right? Mainly because we want to hear from the ZBA about like which way to go with respect to the first floor, right? And so I was asked to appear before the ZBA before we could kind of like do anything with the first floor. So the first floor, since we bought the house for now the 4th or the 5th month running, we haven't made any changes to the first floor.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, are there any other comments from any members of the board? Seeing that there are no comments, and again, this one is interesting in terms of findings. So the staff has reviewed the zoning bylaws, and the majority of what we usually make a finding on are deemed not applicable. So with the board's permission, I will articulate the ones that are not applicable and then have a vote on those en bloc. So we can start with section 7.1. No new parking is, I'm sorry, I'm going to go with the not applicables. 7.106, entrance and exit driveways. Staff has made a finding that this is not applicable. Section 7.90, waivers. There's a finding that this is not applicable. Section 10.382, 10.383, 10.385, 10.387. Staff recommends a finding that the proposal does not constitute a nuisance, nor is it hazard to abutters. It is not detrimental use. 10.384, recommend a finding of not applicable. 10.386, not applicable. 10.388, not applicable. 10.389, not applicable. 10.390, not applicable. 10.391, not applicable. 10.392, not applicable. 10.393, not applicable. And 10.395, not applicable. 10.396, not applicable. 10.397, and not applicable, and 10.398, the proposal is in keeping in general purpose and intent of the bylaw. So from my review, there may be only one or three that's applicable. So I'm going to go through the ones that are listed as applicable. So just bear with me, because there's more not applicable than there are applicable. 10.380 and 381. The proposal is suitably located in the neighborhood in which it is proposed. 10.82, 382, 83, 85, 387. The proposal does not constitute a nuisance, nor is it hazard to abutters. 10.387. Recommend that the proposal to be safe and convenient for vehicular and pedestrian movement within the site and in relation to adjacent streets and properties. And 10.3, bear with me 1 second. And 10.398, the proposal is in keeping with the general purpose and intent of the bylaw. So I would entertain a motion to vote in block on the findings that are not applicable and the ones that are applicable. And Ms. Williams, apologies if I jumped around. I'm hoping that you got track of all of those. Is there such a motion?
Sure. So moved.
It has been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? With no discussion, the vote occurs on the motion to make the required findings. Ms. Greenbaum,
Aye.
Mr. Meadows,
Aye.
Mr. Offeld. I believe Mr. Offeld said aye.
Yes.
Yes. And Mr. White,
Aye.
the chair votes aye. The vote is 5-0 on the required findings. Given that this is a vacation of or a motion to vacate a special permit, I don't see how we can impose conditions on something that no longer exists. So I would also entertain a motion to make a finding that given that we are terminating a special permit, that we cannot impose any conditions. Just for the record, is there such a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and second. The vote occurs. Mr. White,
Yeah, aye.
Mr. Offeld,
Aye.
Mr. Meadows,
Aye.
Mr. Greenbaum,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Mr. Rangathan, your special permit has been, well, your request has been approved, and the special permit has been terminated, and that is ZBA 1997-22 for your ADU unit.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Miss Williams.
just for the sake of being overly redundant, if you will, could we just vote to approve this particular special permit, which is the one before us? Yeah, I know it's silly, but can you just say it so that we have it on record, please?
Nope, not silly at all. So thank you, Ms. Williams. So I will entertain a motion to one, approve the special permit, which is for ZBA 2026-09, and with that same vote, I will close. Actually, let's do them separately. So I would entertain a motion to approve ZBA 2026-09. Is there such a motion?
Would you please explain what we're voting for? I don't understand. What
To
we vote?
So the request before us actually has a name and a title. So for the record, we are voting to approve the special permit.
What's the special permit that we are approving? Since we are here to remove a special permit, what are we approving right now? I'm confused.
That special permit. I know it's very confusing. I agree. Yeah. So there is a paper trail asking us to remove the special permit. And
Correct.
so it was given a title, and so we're voting on that title. So the request is to approve the special permit before us tonight, which is ZBA FY 2026-09, which is a special permit to vacate ZBA 1997-22.
No, I don't think that's what we want to do. That's not, we're removing a special permit. We're not giving another one.
We know that, Ms. Greenbaum, but this is why it's confusing in the first place, right? If we didn't need to do this, we wouldn't have even been here with the applicant. But this is what I was told that the applicant needed to do. This is what the applicant was told that he needed to do. He
All right.
needs apparently a special permit to extinguish a special permit. Does it make sense? Absolutely.
No, absolutely makes no sense.
I know, but we do what we have to do to move forward, right? And
Well,
that's
is
what
this
we're
a
trying to
special
do.
permit that gets recorded in the registry as a special permit that removes a special permit?
Yes,
Apparently.
technically, yes.
Yes.
That's a new one on me. Fine.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion if that's what you need to have.
Yes, please, and thank you. So is there such a motion to approve ZBA FY 2026-09?
Moved.
And is there a second? I
Second.
second. It has been moved in second. The vote occurs. Mr. White,
Aye.
Mr. Meadows,
Aye.
Ms. Greenbaum,
I'm not sure. All right, aye.
Mr. Offeld,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. The vote is 5-0. ZBA FY 2026-09 has been approved. I know this one was very different for us, so thank you for working through it with us. I will now entertain a motion to close the public meeting and close the hearing for ZBA FY 2026-09. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
And
It has been moved and second. The vote occurs on the motion. Ms. Greenbaum,
aye.
Mr. Meadows,
Aye.
Mr. White,
Aye.
Mr. Offeld, and the chair votes aye. The public hearing and meeting for ZBA FY 2026-09 is closed. Thank you all for your patience. And again, Mr. Ronhathing, thank you and good night and good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, board members. Good night.
Our second item on the agenda tonight is, bear with me 1 second. Let me go back to ZBA FY 2026-10, which is a special permit request to change the use from store or shop to a contractor's yard. The Zoning Board of Appeals previously granted 169 Meadow Street several special permits for an off-site medical marijuana dispensary and for a recreational marijuana retailer. The use classification at the time, the first special permit was granted for the subject parcel was commercial warehouse, industrial. In 2017, the use was reclassified to an office building. The use classification changed once more in 2022 to its current use classification, which is store or shop. And I do see a note on here. Should the board choose to grant the special permit, the use classification would change again from a store shop to a contractor's yard under section 3.391. By a way of submissions, on January 16 submissions, we have the ZBA application for 169 Meadow Street. We have a site plan. We have an existing survey. There is a proposed survey. There is a management plan, and there is also a signage proposal. On January 22nd, there was a waiver form submitted on January 23rd, there was an updated signage proposal submitted. And on February 11th, there is I'm sorry, Ms. Williams, can you clarify what is 169 Meadow Street integrity proposed? What is the submission?
That's the February 11th is the updated proposal that just tells us, wow, hold on, my mind went blank as well because I can't tell just looking at the name. Let me
That's
look
okay.
it up.
Yeah.
1 second. I tried to like get through that. I was like, nope, you're not gonna get through that. You got to look at it. They updated, sorry, they updated the plan because what I had asked was for dimensions to be added to the plan for the driveway. So driveway dimensions were added to that revised plan. And that's what you're seeing in the February 11th submission.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So there was also a site visit that took place on Tuesday as well. And again, myself, Mr. Meadows, Mr. Offeld were present for this site visit. We weren't given access to the building because I believe the applicant does not have access to the building. But from the application and from our conversations at the site visit, it seems relatively simple as to what's being asked. There is nothing being, with the exception of limited work with the sign and that porch, nothing is being done or added to the exterior of the building or to the parking lot or to anything of that effect. Any changes would be done primarily internally. And of course, that would go through the proper permitting channels with the town. For the members of the panel that were there, did I miss anything? I do not see any affirmative responses. So, Ms. Williams, at this time, who's representing 169 Meadow Street?
I have Anna Cook and Heidi Flanders that I'll bring in and promote as panelists.
So while we wait, just as a matter of disclosure, when I did get to the site visit, I was recognized by one of our applicants, and that's because about 5 years ago, I had reached out to Integrity for a quote on my home renovation. So as a matter of full disclosure for that. So Ms. Cook and Ms. Flanders, welcome, and just both state your name and addresses for the record.
Hi, I'm Heidi Flanders. Our business address is 110 Pulpit Hill Road in Amherst, Massachusetts. I reside at 112 Maple Street in Conway, Massachusetts.
You're on mute, Ms. Cook.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Got it. Anna Cook. My business address is 110 Pulpit Hill Road in Amherst, just like Heidi. And my personal residence is 113 January Hills Road in Shutesbury.
So either one of you or both, can you just tell the ZBA what it is that you're asking?
Sure. So IDC LLC we are both owners of, as well as Integrity Development and Construction. And so we are seeking a special permit for the change of use for the property at 169 Meadow Street, from the current shop retail store that it is to a zoning bylaw 3.371 contractor's yard. If we were to be granted this special permit, we would then proceed ahead with the purchase of the property from the current owners. So at this time, what we're trying to do is purchase this property so that we can convert it to our professional offices. We've kind of outgrown the space that we're in, and looking to have a little more growth area there for ourselves. So what we would be having there are offices for our project management and design wing of our company. And then we would also be storing our tools and materials for our projects that are conducted off-site. So we don't do construction projects within the building. All of our jobs are done on people's job sites, your homes and stuff like that. So So what we are seeking to do is purchase the property and then install a new sign out front for our company name. The current sign is not large enough because our name is twice as long as theirs. And so we are seeking not only placement of a waiver for the placement of the sign. So the current sign resides within the 20-foot setback of the property. What is perceived as the boundary of the property when you drive by is actually 30 more feet inside. It's actually where the property line is. So what we are seeking the waiver on is to place the new sign at the exact location where the current sign is, no closer to the road on the south side of the property. Our sign, however, will be about 2.5 feet longer. That would be into the property towards the north edge or towards the building. So the waiver would be for us to be able to place the sign within the setback. We did send a revised proposal of the sign from the original one that we proposed, so that we are under the 60 square foot sign requirement. So we don't need a waiver on the size of the sign itself. This new sign would be illuminated from inside and would not have the kind of spotlights that the current sign has onto it. So less disruptive there. We are also seeking to install a new permeable patio paver area on the south side of the property, which is the side on Meadow Street. This would be to have an employee area for our staff to have a break area outside. We would be placing a fence, like a cedar stockade fence on the east and south sides of that patio area off of the new egress door that we would be installing for our occupancy there. An update that I'm not sure if you were made aware of, but we did go to Conservation Commission last night and did get approval from them on the patio pavers, the fence, and the sign. So that should be coming through soon. So that's an update from when we saw you at the site. Let's see, what else is there? The other renovations that we're doing to the building are windows and doors, and then interior renovations. So not much that would be under the ZBA's purview. We're not changing the footprint of the building in any shape or form. The parking lot that consists there has an abundance of parking. I think it's 33 total spaces. Per the zoning bylaws, we need a total of 22. So plenty of capacity there. It has 4 handicap spots currently, which we need 2 of by bylaw. And then that leaves plenty of extra parking because it is about a 6,500 square foot building that we intend to use about 5,300 square feet of, and we hope to have about a 1,200 square foot rental component. So the parking would be additional, so we'd have the additional parking for a future rental. We don't plan to make any modifications to the parking at all, other than to take down the signs that say patient parking because we don't have any patients. So we want to get rid of those. And then the trash enclosure would still remain. That's on the west side of the parking lot. That it contains the dumpster location, which we would have, and the propane tank behind it. And the screening that goes along with that would remain, which is a bunch of, I think, arborvitaes or something. Let's see, what else did I miss? We plan to mow ourselves or hire or contract it out. So maintenance of the property would fall under our purview, as well as plowing and sanding and anything like that needs to happen for the driveway maintenance. So we would be the contact there. And then as far as lighting goes, there currently are a whole bunch of light poles around the parking lot and the driveway in, which are indicated on the survey that you have. And there are a bunch of downcast lights at all of the exterior egress doors at this time. And we would add one additional one at the new egress door per building code. Yeah, so that's the gist. Questions?
I do not have any questions. I think you actually answered the only question I had, and that was the Concom question, but you did answer that, so thank you for that.
Yep.
Are there any members of the board who have any questions for Ms. Flanders or Ms. Cook? Ms. Greenbaum?
Yeah, I'm confused about the 12 by 20-foot fence around the patio. And are you saying that it's 12 feet high, or is that the area?
That's the area.
Oh, just-
Yes.
and
So it's going to come out 12 and a half feet from the building, be 24 feet wide, and the fence will be, I think, 6 feet high. So,
okay, that's what I want to know. I thought I was
yep.
I was interpreting it as 12 feet high, and so I'm checking the bylaw.
Yeah. No, no, 6 feet. Yeah. It's going to mimic the fence that's currently there around the trash enclosure. So,
Thank you.
yep. And just to give you one more update from the conservation that I forgot to add in was that we were made aware from Aaron Jacks at Conservation about the previous judgment on, I want to say January 30th, maybe, about the stormwater management system. There's storm drains that run through the property that have to be maintained, and the previous owner maybe didn't follow that the way they should have. But Aaron has brought us up to speed on what is there and what is required, and we are fully aware that that will be something we will be taking on.
Thank you. Mr. White?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was actually in the process of putting my hand down. Ms. Flanders, I want to give you a compliment. That is probably the most thorough explanation I've seen in a while that didn't involve a PowerPoint. Thank you on both accounts. So both questions answered. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
If there are no further questions from the panel, or if the applicants have nothing else to add, at this time, I will take comments from the public. Ms. Williams, do we have any members of the public who wishes to comment on this application?
No, Mr. Chair, we do not have any members of the public wishing to comment.
Thank you for that. With no comments or additional questions from members of the panel or the public, I would entertain a motion to move to the public meeting while keeping the public hearing so we can discuss the merits of the application. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
It has been moved and second. Is there any discussion on the motion? With no discussion, the vote occurs. Ms. Greenbaum?
Aye.
Mr. Meadows?
Aye.
Mr. White?
Aye.
Mr. Offeld? And the chair votes aye. We are now in, the vote is 5-0 to move to the public meeting while keeping the public hearing open. Just for the record, Ms. Cook and Ms. Flanders, this is not an opportunity for you to add or ask questions. It's a chance for the board to deliberate. If no one wants to start, I can start. My initial response is we went there, as you heard from Mr. White, even in this presentation, it was very clear, thorough, straightforward. One of the less complicated ones that we've had before us. What's been asked is very simple. I do not see any red flags. There were no comments from the public, either tonight or prior in the submissions. I didn't see anything from appropriate town departments, except for Concom, which from Ms. Fenner's representation tonight has been satisfied. So I have no issues with supporting this request. And I'll let other members of the panel weigh in.
If I may, I'm only surprised that Ms. Greenbaum has not commented about the mural, since she had numerous comments about it when it was originally going up and proposed.
Ms. Greenbaum?
That's not my favorite thing, but you know what? I've accommodated myself. I don't see them anymore, but if that's their taste, well, they can keep them on. A lot of it may be covered by the fence too. Who knows? I think it's wonderful to see this property really in use again. It used to be known as the auction barn, but I guess I'm dating myself that way. But I spent many wonderful days, Saturdays particularly in the olden days, at the auctions. You wouldn't remember the name of Bill Hubbard. That's before your time, but all of his own collections were auctioned off by Skinner in Boston. And I got some of those things too, actually, some that even belonged in my house. But I think it's wonderful to see the building being used because every time I drive by, I don't see any cars there. I don't think that the town found marijuana to be the big economic driver that they anticipated it was going to be. So I wish you good luck and I hope that you do well there.
Mr. Offield, I think I saw your hand. Thank you,
Yes,
Ms. Greenbaum.
thank you. I'll just point out that we learned on the site visit that the mural will be painted over by the applicants. Although that's not an issue before us, of course, but just a point of fact. I just also note there's a request for a waiver on the sign. And we did look in the site visit, we looked at the existing sign and imagined the new sign, which is slightly taller and a little wider towards the building. And it's fine. It's quite appropriate location for it. It's just a peculiarity of the road width at that point is wider than normal or typical, so that there needs to be a waiver granted to allow the sign to be closer to the to I guess set aside the setback from the property line, so it can be seen from the road appropriately. So I want to make sure to include that in the final decision. But I also agree that this is a great new use for the building.
Thank you, Mr. Offield. Mr. White?
Chair? Yeah, my kind of only question or concern around this was going to involve the waiver with the sign. But I think any issues I've had have been addressed on that. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great use.
And Mr. Meadows, the last word.
I have no further comment. Thank you.
Thank you all. So with no further comments from the panel, next we have to make findings. And there are specific findings that we need to make under section 10.38, and we will go through these one by one. And where a finding is not applicable, with the permission of the board, I will skip those. Seeing that there is no further discussion, I would like to go through the findings. And Ms. Cook and Ms. Flanders, this is going to be the longest part of your night, so bear with us. Yeah. And going off the project application report, and we're going to bear with me. Okay. Section 10.38, specific findings are required. I propose that we make a finding that's 10.380, 10.381. The proposal is suitably located and is compatible with existing uses and other uses permitted by right in the same district. 10.382, 83, 85, and 387. Propose that we make a finding that the proposal does not constitute a nuisance, nor is it hazardous to abutters. 10.384, propose we make a finding that the applicant has provided adequate and appropriate facilities that are in keeping with the proposed change of use. 10.386, make a finding that the proposal is in keeping with this finding. 10.387, propose we make a finding that the proposal does not adversely impact local traffic patterns. 10.388, should a delivery service vehicle choose to utilize the driveway, there appears to be ample space for said vehicle to enter and exit the property without issue. Just from our site visit, there was a one-way in and one-way out sign. 10.389, recommend we make a finding that the existing trash and recycling enclosure and screening will remain at the rear of the property. Weekly pickups will be by USA Recycling or equivalent. 10.390, the applicant confirmed that they were in communication with the Conservation Commission to ensure that the proposal is in compliance with our requirements and regulations. And I believe the applicant tonight represented that they have the approval from the Conservation Commission. 10.391, again, the applicant has been in communication with the Conservation Commission and has the requisite approvals. 10.392, the applicant states that the existing landscape will remain. Maintenance will be either by themselves or contracted. Applicants adds that they plan on making the following improvements: add a flower bed beneath the new sign that will be maintained by Integrity, add a new 24x12 paver patio at the new egress door on the south side per plan, attached for employee use, and two new wood fence sections on the east and south sides per plan. 10.393, the applicant states that the existing light poles with downcast lights will remain. Existing downcast lights at all doors are also scheduled to remain. Applicant does propose adding one downcast light on a wall at a new egress door as shown in the plan that was submitted on January 15, 2026, titled 169 Meadow Street Plan 24x36 of that same date. 10.394, the proposal is found with the Conservation Commission resource area. The applicant has worked with the commission to address permanent requirements and confirm that the project will not adversely affect the quality or quantity of the water in the LSB. I'd like to make a finding that 10.395 is not applicable. 10.396, the trash and recycling receptacles are located on the west side of the property adjacent to the parking lot. A wooden stockade fence will screen the receptacles, and there was documentation submitted showing that C 2026 01-16-169 Meadow Street proposed survey. I'd like to make a finding that 10.397 is not applicable, and 10.398 make a finding that the proposal is in keeping with the general purpose and intent of this bylaw. So there were 3 not applicables, and so with the board's permission, I'd like to vote in block on these findings. Is there a motion to adopt these findings?
Mr. Chair, really quickly,
Go ahead.
did we skip over, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I know we were kind of flying through them, under 10.382 through 10.387, the second and third, did we get those?
I believe we did, but just for the record, I can do them again just to make sure. So 10.382, 83, 85, and 87. Make a
The
finding that, go
The
ahead.
second, specifically the second one that says protecting against detrimental or offensive uses, including air and water pollution. I can put in there I can make the suggestion that since they already went to Concom and they were approved, I can just make the note that they were approved, but how would you like to handle that? Because I'm not sure we read that one.
I
Or
can
the
just
one
go,
underneath it.
we can just, I recommend we make a finding that the applicant has met with the Conservation Commission and has approval of the proper, or rather requisite approvals for this project. They are in compliance with all requirements and regulations.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any discussions on the findings? With no discussion, I'm seeing Ms. Williams' screen, so if anyone has their hand up, just vocalize because I can only see her screen. So if there are no discussion on the findings, I would entertain a motion that we approve the findings. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been moved and second. Is there any discussion? With no discussion, the vote occurs on the motion. Mr. White,
Aye.
Mr. Offeld,
Aye.
Ms. Greenbaum,
Abstain. Because I think we should do the conditions before we approve this. Just to be sure that we've covered everything. And and tradition is that we usually do the conditions before they do the findings because they're supposed to reflect the conditions. So I'm
Mr.
abstaining.
Mr. Meadows,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. The vote is 4-0. The conditions have been approved. Now we will review any conditions. I'm sorry, the findings have been approved. Now we'll review any special conditions for the special permit. Has everyone had a chance to review the proposed conditions of approval? Are there any that people want to modify or make any additions? I believe Ms. Greenbaum's hand is raised.
Somewhere in there, it should say, and I don't have it in front of me. I didn't print it out to write it down, but somewhere it should say that everything that has to do with the Conservation Commission should apply also to any future rules or regulations or changes in land use, well, conservation. Well, I can't think of. I had it. I sent it to Jacinta. She may be able to read it out for me because I'm not pulling it together carefully. But what I want to say is that land is land that has flooded and flooded seriously in this century, and that rules may change in the future, and that the conditions should say not only the current regulations and conditions that Concom has placed on it, but any that may change in the future with changing environment. Somewhere that should be in there, that it's not just now, but in the future. They need to comply with whatever rules changes there may be in the water management. You know what I'm trying to say?
Ms. Williams, do you have the proposed language from Ms. Greenbaum?
I sent it in an email when I read it.
I'm checking email and phone right now because I didn't see it in email. One moment. 1 second, guys. Ms. Greenbaum, I don't see it. Can you send
Let
it
me see if
again?
you can find it.
Hold on.
Okay,
Okay, wait, hold on. I think I found it. It says, I'm only thinking that we might want to add words to the effect of, or to ensure compliance with any unanticipated future Concom directives and or conditions due to climate change, for example, as the site has flooded or has been flooded in past storms.
Can you
You don't have to
can
put
you
the flooding in there, but I mean the rest of it.
can you throw in a bullet in the condition so we can see it on screen so we can see what it reads like?
Sure, I can work on something while you deliberate the rest.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So I will go through the go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Offeld.
Yes, do we have to explicitly approve the change of use?
Yes.
I don't think that we've done that yet. Or is that implied by the?
I thought granting the special permit would grant the change of
Would
use.
imply, okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. If anyone has any other comments, be mindful. I'm only seeing Ms. Williams' screen, so feel free to vocalize.
I'm going to stop sharing for the moment. 1 second.
That's okay. So I will go through the current proposed conditions, starting with condition 1. The project shall be built, maintained, and managed according to the approved plans and application package. And with board's permission, I will skip the approved plans that were included. They're listed there, sheet A2, A4, A6, the proposed survey, and the revised proposal that includes the driveway measurements. Any changes shall be reviewed by the building commissioner to determine if the changes are significant enough to require a formal modification of the permit and/or condition. If deemed significant, submission to the ZBA is necessary. As built, plans should be provided to the building and inspections prior to final inspections and prior to the issuance of any certificate of occupancy. All exterior site improvements, including the driveway, parking area, striping, curbing, lighting, dumpster enclosure, stormwater drain systems, landscaping, and plantings shall be constructed or installed substantially in accordance with the approved as-built site plans and associated details prior to the issuance of any certificate of occupancy, and shall thereafter be maintained in good working order in accordance with the operations and maintenance plan and Article 7 of the zoning bylaw. All lighting shall be installed substantially in accordance with the approved lighting plan. It shall be downcast and shielded so as to prevent light spillage onto adjacent properties or roadways. After hours, lighting shall be turned off except as operated by motion sensors. Condition 5, parking shall be provided and managed in accordance with the approved plans and management plan. Any significant increase in vehicular traffic resulting in insufficient parking, as determined by the building commissioner, shall be addressed by the applicant with changes to the parking area and/or management plan for review and approval by the Zoning Board of Appeals. Ms. Williams, there is the word determined in number 5 may need to be fixed a little bit.
Yes, I see it. Thank you.
Condition number 6, the use shall be operated in conformance with the approved management plan. An approved management plan shall be in place at all times. Any changes in the management plan shall require the review and approval of the Zoning Board of Appeals at a public meeting. Condition number 7, all landscape plantings associated with the parking area shall be installed in accordance with the approved landscape plan, and once installed, shall be cared for and continually maintained and replaced in kind as needed. All disturbed areas shall be loomed and seeded unless otherwise specified. And the granting of this special permit will nullify all previously granted special permits. And do you have wording yet on Ms. Greenbaum's proposed condition?
Conservation Commission.
Thank you.
You can say now and in the future.
I want to try to word it in such a way that it captures their approval.
Ms. Greenbaum, isn't your intent to make sure that whether it is Integrity or anyone else moving forward has to comply with the Conservation Commission's recommendations and approval?
Now, and if there are changes which are possible due to changing climate in the future, that it continues to comply, not with today's rules, but any that may change in the future.
Okay, so how about this? Because I recognize we don't have. So first of all, I don't foresee this happening, but should
couldn't you just put in there what I wrote? Any any unanticipated changes in the future.
I know, but 1 second, if you work with me, what I'm trying to do is, in the event of change of ownership.
I want, the wording sounded like you were only making them abide by the current approvals, except that laws may change.
Okay.
Especially with regard to the environment, and that is a very flood-prone area.
I understand
This
completely.
this continues to be a condition even when changes happen to the rules and regulations. That's what I'm trying to say. Not just today, but in the future also.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think I agree with that. Um, we're creating an undue burden on them. I mean, if the law changes, then there's compliance with the law. It is the town's responsibility to make sure that our bylaws are updated to reflect that. It shouldn't be on integrity to do that. I understand what you're asking, but I think we're creating an undue burden on them with that condition.
I think that if this permit goes with the land in perpetuity, then it has to make room for things to change in the future.
But we have a condition.
By law, special permits go with the land, not with an owner, unless there is a condition on the permit that they come back with a management plan, or that the permit ends with the change of ownership. But we're not assuming that the ownership is going to change when we write this, whether it does or it doesn't.
So
The plans need to comply with what is today and whatever the law may be in the future. If they come in with changes, then this would have to be amended or whatever.
I think you said
I put the words in there in the event of, or
Okay, one moment.
I think you said something
I
that
don't
is
want them to be locked into having to obey these permits 200 years from now or 50 years from now, because the case with the climate is it could change in 2 years, and then what you're requiring them to do now may not be what's appropriate 5 years from now or 10 years from now. And they should be complying with the Conservation Commission permits for whatever time may be in the future. This may be irrelevant in 5 years, and the Concom may change it, and the one that they change it to should be what's relevant, but it's going to be in conflict with what's in here. That's what I'm trying to say.
and
We have to allow for the law to change, and they still have to comply with it. Not with this, but whatever new thing the Concom may require of them.
okay, Ms. Greenbaum, I need to be allowed to speak now. I disagree. The when a person comes before us with a special permit, we are approving a special permit based on current bylaws and authority that we have. That is what the special permit should be, not anticipating what may happen in 5 years. If that is the case, then we'd be in a very difficult situation. So you said something earlier that I'm inclined to agree with, which is if there's a change of ownership, they have to come back and get a different special permit. But to add your condition, I'm not in support of that.
Well, this is going to be in conflict with the Conservation Commission if climate changes in 5 years and the Conservation Commission rules differently. It has to comply with whatever they say whenever the time is, not necessarily just today.
Can I just add something to that?
I'm sorry, Ms. Flanders. This is the public meeting.
Oh, okay.
She may have something to say that's very useful, and I would like to hear it.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Mr. Offeld.
I think I understand Ms. Greenbaum's point, but we could have changes in building codes that would be relevant to the applicants to the property 10 or 20 or 50 years from now. We don't want to lock in any conditions here that might be overridden by some other body. And if that's the concern, we should remove those. But I don't think we can write a condition that requires that they obey the law, obey the regulations in the future, because there are other bodies that will enforce those regulations. So I'm not sure that that's our job.
And that's a good
That
point.
makes sense.
It is, and that's a good point and good example. I mean, imagine, are you saying that if we grant this permit in 2 years, there's a bylaw that says, oh, your building is too short, they have to knock their building down or build up on it? I don't think, again, appreciating what you're saying, but I think what you're asking exceeds what our authority does, and it would create an undue burden on the applicant, and that should not be the case.
Can I make the comment about that? When you're
Yeah.
talking about things like building codes, we have things called grandfathering. I don't know that there's such a thing as grandfathering in conservation and climate regulations. I don't know about that.
Well, my recommendation would be then, if Concom has concerns about the future, then when they do their approvals, they should make those stipulations in Concom.
Then maybe we shouldn't put a date in the thing, and that they just comply with everything that the Concom requires them to do. That would cover that one. If that they remain in compliance with Concom directives. How's that?
Mr. Meadows has his hand raised.
I agree with Mr. Alfeld. I'm not certain that this is the right place to do this. What Ms. Greenbaum is suggesting. I think it's up to the Concom to make those rules for whomever is coming in front of them. And I don't think that it's appropriate for us to be doing that.
Thank you, Mr. Meadows. So
Chair.
I'm comfortable with number 9 because we've done that before for other petitions. If there's a change of ownership, the new owners have to come back before us, and that was your suggestion, Ms. Greenbaum. But the other one that requires so much, I'm agreeing with Mr. Offeld, Mr. Meadows, and from Mr. White's nodding of head that we shouldn't impose number 10.
Should we just leave out number 10, or just leave out the date? I'd be
We should
happy
leave-
if you leave out the date.
Okay, hold on. Let's just look at this.
Should stop there. Just take out approval. That the applicant shall appear to and remain in compliance with all requirements of the Conservation Commission and period, and I'm happy with that. Leave out the next sentence.
Okay.
That covers my tale. Because it's not time limited.
I'm still not comfortable with that.
What?
It's just a shortened version of everything you said. They already went before Concom. They already got the approval from Concom. That should be it.
Then leave it out. Then don't even put in 10.
So, Ms. Williams, we leave it at 9 and take out 10.
I'm happy with that too. I just didn't want to tie them into something they decided last night, which may be irrelevant in the future.
Okay, so then I think what you're seeing is, if you'll permit me just one moment, there was something in the conditions. I will take well, no, because it says applicant's petition was approved by the Conservation Commission on February.
That's fine. That's
Okay.
a finding. That's not a condition.
Okay, then we're okay there. And just for the record, Mr. Chair, the conservation agent did say that the as-built plans should be stamped, so I've put in the word stamped in the condition 2 and in condition 3.
That's fine.
Okay.
So we have 9 conditions. Can you,
Yes, I will try to present them again for you. Hopefully they're legible if I make the screen smaller, but I don't know. You won't be able to see all 9, and then they'll just be too difficult to read. So I'm gonna.
that's okay. But with the exception of number 2 and number 3, the only changes was we added number 9, yes?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. So thank you everyone for that. So are there any discussions on the now existing conditions? With no discussions, I would entertain a motion that we approve the conditions 1 through 9 as amended. Is there such a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
It has been moved and second. Is there any discussion? With no discussion, the vote occurs on the motion. Mr. Meadows,
Aye.
Ms. Greenbaum,
Aye.
Mr. White,
Aye.
Mr. Offeld,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. The vote is 5-0. The conditions are approved. Now we'll come to the motion to approve ZBA FY 2026-10. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
Can you read the reading of what we're approving so that we know that it includes everything that Mr. Alfeld mentioned?
Yes, we are approving. Bear with me. Let me go back to the project application on my screen. We are approving ZBA FY 2026-10 in essence, approving the change of use of the property from a store shop to a contractor's yard with the approved findings that were previously accepted and the conditions that were previously approved.
I think we need to amend what you just said by that we also approved the setback, the waiver of the setback and the size of the, did we decide the size of the sign was okay? But we do have to approve the waiver of the setback.
So we can do so too. Okay.
And what
so
else was there? Was there another? I think, is that everything now, or did we have to approve the size of the sign? Did you finally say in the end of now fits the square footage?
It does, yes.
Have we covered everything that they were asking? I'm asking.
So it's just a setback in the sign. You're correct. Yeah.
Wait a minute, here it is on the nature of the request. No, that's not it.
So Ms. Williams, do we have the size of the sign?
Size of the sign, hold on one moment.
I think she said that it now complied. At one point it didn't. We can just say it approved that we did approve the sign and that we approved the location of the sign
Okay.
and
So-
the change of use. Now, is that everything?
Yes, the change of use, the setback, and the size of the sign. So I would entertain a motion to approve the change of use, the setback, and the size of the sign. Is there such a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
It has been moved and second. The vote occurs on the motion. Ms. Greenbaum,
Aye.
Mr. Meadows,
Aye.
Mr. White,
Aye.
Mr. Offeld,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. The modifications have been approved, the setback, the size of the sign, and the change of use. I will now entertain a motion to approve overall ZBA FY 2026-10 approval of the special permits to include the waivers, modifications, the findings, and the conditions. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and second. Is there any discussion? With no discussion, the vote occurs. Mr. Offeld,
Aye.
Mr. White,
Aye.
Mr. Meadows,
Aye.
Ms. Greenbaum,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. The motion has been moved and the vote is 5-0. The motion passes and the special permit is granted. Congratulations, Integrity. As you heard from Mr. Greenbaum, there is excitement so that there's life in that area. So best of luck with your new space. Hopefully you guys can close on the sale relatively soon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, everyone, for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I will now entertain a motion to close the public hearing and the public meeting for ZBA FY 2026-10. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and second. Is there any discussion? With no discussion, the vote occurs. Ms. Greenbaum,
Aye.
Mr. Meadows,
Aye.
Mr. Offeld,
Aye.
Mr. White,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. The public hearing and meeting for ZBA FY 2026-10 is closed. Again, Ms. Flanders and Ms. Cook, good luck and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We will now have a general public comment period for any comments on business not before the ZBA tonight. I do not believe we have anyone, but Ms. Williams, I'll just have you confirm.
No, we do not have any members of the public wishing to comment.
So with no members of the public, we can look at other business not anticipated within the last 48 hours. And I do have a couple things. So I want to start with something that Ms. Greenbaum said. You abstained from voting on the findings because your history with the ZBA, it has always been conditions before findings. You said this previously in the last meeting that you were on, and just to make sure I wasn't doing something incorrectly, I reached out to town council, and there is no requirement that I do conditions before findings or I do findings before conditions. The reason I do findings before conditions, because the trained lawyer in me, the findings are the regulations that we have to say that this thing meets the required standard under the bylaws. So in my mind, that makes sense first. If it doesn't meet, there's no point for conditions. And so after we make a finding that, okay, we have the authority, it meets, we can grant, then we can talk about conditions. So as a matter of point, just for your benefit, I wanted to reach out to council. They concur with me that I can do it in whatever order, but just as a courtesy, I do it, findings, then conditions, and that is how I intend to do it.
Yeah, you may intend to do it that way, but in the past, whenever we have done findings, we can make the finding because we have put a certain condition on the permit. That's the way it has been done for the last 50 years. You can do it your way, but that does not give the fine tuning that a permit may need to have if it is appealed. But you can say it's not going to be a nuisance to the neighborhood because we have such and such a condition that noise complaints are going to be handled by such, or whatever. You're just making generic answers to the 10.38 rather than giving legal answers that would stand up in a court on appeal. And this is the way we've been taught by the many years of the state teaching programs in Worcester that I have gone to about how to write a decision. That's what I'm reflecting, that you have a different way of doing it, fine. When I'm chair, I do it my way. When you're chair, you do it your way. So I guess that's the way it's gonna be. And luckily you haven't been appealed, but I've been appealed several times. I never had to go to court because the lawyers handle it, but when you're on appeal, you gotta have a case. And I don't think that generic answers to 10.38 cover it. You know, sometimes if you're talking about traffic, there is a traffic report, which you can say in the findings, the traffic report showed such, such, and such, or whatever. So I'm just saying that there were ways we always did it, and you changed it, and I got very confused.
Well, thank you for that feedback. The other order of, I'm sorry, Mr. White.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Chair. I'll give my comments after you're done. I appreciate it, though.
So, and Ms. Greenbaum, you weren't here in the last meeting, but LSC.
I was there.
Oh, I'm
Excuse me.
sorry.
I sat through the whole meeting last time.
Okay, good. So
I was there. I could have served. You could have had 5 people.
okay.
But
So
you just said you don't find that's legal, and I'm very offended by that. Thank you. And this is on tape, and it's on the record that I was offended by that comment. Did you have to go find out if it's legal to let somebody who's sitting in the audience in the Zoom room who's observing to serve on a panel when you only have 4 people? I don't want to go into further what implications that has, but it's offensive. Given I'm the only one from North Amherst and the only woman on the panel. Your statement was offensive.
okay. So my point was, with the petition that was before us last week, there were some questions that I had asked Ms. Williams to reach out to town council on, and the primary one was, can we transfer a special permit based on what they were asking? The feedback is yes, if we as a board make findings. The key one is that if substantial construction has started, and Ms. Williams, keep me honest, I'm not looking at my email. If we make a finding that substantial construction has started, then yes, we can. But we would have to make that finding collectively as a board. And that may warrant us to do a site visit to make a determination for ourselves as to what we determine to be substantial construction. Is that right, Ms. Williams?
Yes, that is correct.
So the answer
But is that in writing, the finding that why you thought that was illegal last week? Is that in writing somewhere?
I'm sorry, what is your question?
Is the opinion from KRA in writing? May I see it?
I haven't shared it with everyone yet. So, but yes, I spoke to KP Law this morning and I received a written explanation yesterday from KP Law, walking me through their thought process as to why they believe the board has the ability to transfer a special permit. They cited specifically.
Oh, well, that agrees with what I thought.
Okay.
That it was legal for you to act last week, which you didn't do.
Right.
I was confused by why you thought it was illegal.
I think we're talking about 2 different things, Miss Greenbaum. So if you can just, for the benefit of the board, if you can just allow Ms. Williams to read the attorney's response, I think that'll be helpful for the entire board. So Ms. Williams, you can continue.
Okay, one moment. Okay, so where I'm just going to pick apart and where it makes sense to start reading. As explained in detail below, it is my opinion that the special permit may be transferred to a new entity so long as substantial construction of the project has begun, or if substantial construction has not begun after a public hearing and approval by the ZBA. By way of background, you provided a copy of special permit ZBA FY 2026-01. This was the permit that was issued back in August of last year to LSC Fornax LLC for a battery energy storage system. And this special permit had two conditions, one modified to two prior special permit decisions, 2018-19 and then 2020-01. None of the special permit decisions contain a provision explicitly prohibiting a transfer of the permit, although ZBA 2026-01 conditions of approval number 1 states any changes to the proposal regarding but not limited to size, location, equipment upgrades, wetlands, and environmental impacts requires a special permit. Section 3.340.0 contains no provisions relative to transfer of special permits for this use. However, Article 10 of the town's zoning bylaws provide the following regarding the transfer of a special permit. This is 10.34, transfer. Where a special permit involving the construction of buildings has not been implemented by substantial construction, said permit shall not pass to future owners of the property without a public hearing and approval by the special permit granting authority. Attorney Murray goes on to say, the zoning bylaw does not define building or structure, but in my opinion, the above provision would be applicable to a solar array and BESS. It is not clear from the information provided whether substantial construction of the solar array and or BESS has begun. In their January 29th, 2026 letter to the ZBA, Lodestar Energy advises that they are in compliance with all conditions associated with the above permits and that construction of the BESS is slated to begin in or around the second quarter of 2026. If the solar panels have been installed and the BESS is a related component of the solar energy system, then the ZBA could find that substantial construction has begun, such that the special permit could be transferred. If the ZBA finds that substantial construction has not begun, then the special permit could be transferred to the new entity as a modification or amendment under section 10.33 of the zoning bylaw following a public hearing and approval by the ZBA.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Sure.
So I don't know about, I hear what you're saying, Ms. Greenbaum, but I think that clarification was very helpful and needed because, again, the takeaway is we would have to have a public hearing and make a finding before we could say yes. And the
Okay,
finding,
I would agree with that, but I didn't know about this. The argument then was whether the solar farm is considered the same permit as the BESS. That's and the solar farm is functioning. So that I'm glad you explained that because it was very confusing.
I will just forward this to everyone so that everyone has it.
I can't hear you.
I will forward this to everyone so that everyone has it and can reread it.
Thank you. Yes, it's complicated. Yes.
and this would be helpful because David is on that panel and he's not here tonight. So yes, please, thank you.
Okay.
So so the question is, we would need to make a finding that either one, substantial construction has started or hasn't started. And I think the way we do that is a site visit. And so I think Ms. Williams can coordinate with LSC Fornax to make that happen. But if we understood from what they said in the last meeting was that it was slated to start in second quarter of 2026, if I'm remembering or hearing that correctly before we can actually say yes to what they ask us to do. Would have to make that finding to say significant construction has started or has not started. So, more to come from Ms. Williams if and when we are going to go out there. But I don't think they're back before us, so we do have some time. I imagine they're covered in snow right now, anyway, to go out there. But we can talk about if and when one gets scheduled. And I'm available. I'm happy to go out there and see and have them let us know if the construction has actually started, and then we can actually have the correct information to make an up or down vote on their ask. Okay. As is customary, Ms. Williams.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was going
That's
to
okay.
ask before we kind of do the calendar review, can I make a request?
Yes.
So I'm sure we're all experiencing this, but over Zoom, when we have multiple people speaking, it's very confusing. Zoom doesn't know who to put on the microphone, and we all end up missing out on what anyone is trying to say. Obviously, this is the chair's prerogative, but I would ask that we go back to the formal model of we don't speak until we're acknowledged, unless obviously we've had our hand up for a substantial amount of time and we're moving forward. But I would appreciate that. It would greatly benefit and help me.
I am very comfortable with that. I think to have the meeting run smoothly, and to your point, to make sure that everything is being captured properly, as well as Ms. Williams has to do the meeting minutes. So I think that would also help her as well. If there is a clear order as to who's speaking for documentation purposes. So yes, I do support that. I think the only time that, as you saw tonight, that I may not be able to see someone's hand raised is when Ms. Williams is sharing her screen. And so, but as you said, people can, and as I said, people can be vocal, because I advised that I couldn't see your hands at that time. But yes, I would strongly support.
You're frozen.
You're back.
Yeah.
Okay.
We lost you for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I said thank you for that suggestion. And yes, I think we should adopt that moving forward. Okay. Ms. Williams?
Sure, let me just share my screen, one moment. Okay, so we just concluded tonight's hearings. Everything was approved. We do not have any petitions for March 12th. So I would suggest perhaps we cancel that meeting. Or we could use that day as a possible site visit day. That should hopefully give the weather some time to, I don't know, I don't want to say calm down, but maybe it will give the snow enough time to melt. I don't know. But either way, we don't have any petitions on the 12th. So it doesn't make sense for everyone to meet unless, again, anyone wants to have like an administrative meeting. But that's completely up to all of you. And then on the 26th, we have a very full house. Pulpit Hill is scheduled to come back. So I will work with them to coordinate the site visit prior to this date. And we can go from there. I think probably you would probably want to just do another public meeting with them to discuss whether or not we think substantial construction has actually occurred.
I think that is what we continued it for to a date certain was another public meeting.
Okay, so that's what that will be.
Yeah.
And then you have Tilted Orbit coming before the board that evening. That's 113 Coles Road. It's a sort of revisioning of what was formerly the Atkins Market. And it's going to be an indoor pinball machine arcade with bar. I will be putting the project application together for that over the next week, and you should be seeing that sooner rather than later. And then Fort River Solar is coming back before the board to seek an extension for the work that has yet to be completed. The extension request was triggered because building and inspections went out to do an inspection, and because they're not where they need to be, they have to first seek an extension of their special permit in order to continue. But again, I will provide a project application report going into detail about this as well. So that is where we are at the moment. We don't have anything for April, but that could very well change in the next couple of weeks.
And before I asked us to vote on the March 12th, no one can, we're outside the date span for any submissions, right?
For April, no, but for
I'm sorry, for March. For
yes,
March.
for March 12th, yes.
Okay. All right. That makes it easy. So thank you again, Ms. Williams, as always. So I would make I would entertain a motion to cancel our March 12th date, given the representations by Ms. Williams that we are past the date of any appropriate submission. We can cancel that date from the calendar. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
I see Mr. Meadows' hand. Is that a second?
Well, the mention of, is that a good day for a site visit? But that wouldn't be a meeting, that would simply be a site visit, yes?
That's
Correct.
correct.
Yes. We'll just go during the day. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
second.
It has been moved and second. Is there any discussion? With no discussion, the vote occurs. Mr. Meadows,
Aye,
Mr. White,
Aye.
Mr. Offeld,
Aye.
Ms. Greenbaum. You are on mute if you're voting.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you. The March 12 meeting date has been canceled and taken off the calendar. I see no hands in the affirmative, so I will entertain a motion to close tonight's meeting. Do I have such a motion?
so moved.
It has been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved in second. The motion is not debatable and requires a roll call vote. Ms. Greenbaum? I believe you said aye.
Yeah, I'm muted. I'm aye.
That's okay. And Mr. Meadows?
Aye,
Mr. Offeld?
Aye.
Mr. White?
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned. The time is 7:59 p.m. Have a good night and thank you all for your service.
Thank you and good
Night.
night.
Night.